we have some stuff to look at today. Video by Dr. K and that fireman guy who I believe I've seen on The Community or something. I assume he's an actor as well as a fireman, but I think he has some sort of show about firefighting. Not for sure. And that might have been his original vocation. All right. Let's get it. There's some other stuff we're going to watch too, but that's the first thing here on the docket. All right, yeah. Everything Hollywood gets wrong is about firefighters or something. There's probably other stuff in there, but.
And then go back in to grab books, and they perish in the fire. Yeah, books or personal items, and then go back into. We've had people escape from fires and then go back in to grab books.
Yeah, well, don't ever accuse people of being sensible.
And they perish in the fire. Yeah, books or personal items. Yeah,
but to be fair, like I could easily see that. Like it'd be very easy to see that type of thing where like, oh my goodness, I want to grab that one thing that's really important, and if they don't think the fire's too bad, or if they can't see where it's going or whatever, yeah, I could very easily see that happening. It's maybe not down to the idiocy of the individuals involved. Well, technically maybe a little bit, but it's comprehensible idiocy.
Yeah. So you're never running back in.
Don't run back in the house. No, once you're out.
I just double check and make sure this. I'm hoping.
Out. So
what if your child's in
there? Look, when we say touch the door, if you touch the door and it is scalding your hands, like it is so hot, you can see flames coming out from underneath the door. When you open up that door, you're gonna die. Like there's no.
Yeah, that's the thing I've heard of that. Like the notion is the oxygen that gets to the fire, it just like it'll go nuts, kind of.
Way you're gonna make it out to that hallway if flames are that bad.
Wetting towels, putting them at the door jamb, covering yourself with them, all that's useless.
No. Smoke inhalation is that big issue. When you go out there, those fumes are extremely toxic. You're inhaling all the polyethylene.
I've heard that actually too. A lot. I had mentioned before, but a lot of the people are. Well, I say there are people in our church that are first responders. But they would do like training where you would be in a burning building or something like that. I think the one time, I don't know if it's one of our guys or someone just stood up for a second and just breathed in, because you're generally supposed to keep through below the line of smoke or whatever. They just stood up for a second and breathed in that stuff. In like a condensed space, they breathed in that smoke, and it's like they were out like a light. It is crazy how toxic that stuff is. You do not want to be
all the whatever lithium
fiddling with it.
Stuff is on fire.
I have 2 air purifiers in my room. Bad idea to turn them on.
I mean,
because they would suck air into the room, but they would also be cleaning the smoke.
They would be.
So I don't know, what is the strategy?
You're gonna die. That's
Welcome back to the Checkup Podcast, where today I'm speaking to Jason Patton, otherwise known as Fire Department Chronicles. He's the most followed firefighter in the world, and for good reason. You probably know Jason's viral and hilarious videos recapping bizarre encounters he's had out in the field as a first responder.
I should go check that out sometime.
Or from his series on YouTube where he green screens himself into firefighter shows and calls them out for their BS face to face. He's easily one of the most charismatic people we've had on the show, but also rich in substance. He's not just some comedy influencer, he's an actual multi-year veteran of fighting fires and treating.
Okay, I assume he's an actor, because I'm like 90% sure I've seen this guy or someone who looked very much like him on The Community. Like, is that not the case?
Patients on the front lines with an incredible amount of insight into the profession. We touched on juicy topics like how much firefighters actually get paid, how to stay safe during a fire, controversial topics like private firefighters for celebrities, and even silly topics.
That exists? What the? Okay, that's a thing apparently.
Topics like the pain of sliding down the fire pole. Oh, and of course, the basics.
Fire poles are awesome.
Just to set the ground rules.
Not the
Straight off the jump. if I catch on fire mid-episode, is it stop, drop, and roll, or are there different strategies now?
Stop, drop, and roll. But I mean, how long do you want me to let you stay on fire?
No, minimal, because I don't have the fire suit on.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know if this would an epic video.
Dude, I still think of
this might be a different guy. I'm listening to his voice, and it doesn't sound the same way. But he looks like sans hair. He looks exactly like the dude from Community. I don't know who that is.
About the training that I
I have to look that up as well.
got when I was in middle school in Brooklyn of dare, stop, drop, and roll. Has any of these things been upgraded, or is it still the same tried and true? Because I think about it from a chest compression CPR standpoint. Is there anything new that folks need to know about personal safety?
No, stop, drop, and roll is great because you're doing the basic things. You're rolling on top of the fire, so you're hopefully able to remove the oxygen from it.
Yeah. Well, the whole notion of rolling. Okay, so like I guess you're kind of stamping on the fire, but I guess maybe you're just supposed to roll around so you get it all. I'm assuming this is in a scenario where you're not just on fire from one side, so you can't just lie on your back or something.
It's funny because you're right in the medical field.
I still remember that. It's one of the most badass scenes from The Hobbit, where I believe they were in the mountain with the dragon. You know what I'm talking about? Where like I think Thorin was. Like, he comes running through the doorway after the dragon's breathing fire or whatever, and his cloak's on fire, and he just, like, shrugs it off. And then he gets up and, yeah, let's go. That's still, like, one of the coolest scenes ever.
Things tend to change constantly. Every 4 years, they're finding out something new. We're adding one extra compression in now. But firefighting, it at a constant basis, we're trying to make things as efficient as possible, save as many lives as possible. You look at old firefighting pieces, or at least when we were training, we do forcible entry when we're moving into a structure. And there wasn't a huge emphasis on once you open up that front door with whatever you're using, make sure you close it as quickly as possible until you're ready to go.
Yeah. Again, it's like it just works like a huge air vent for the fire. That's what, like, I would have heard, because like if you can, like, I've never seen that happen, but like the notion would be that if you open that door, it'll just go nuts. This guy's a new air source.
Go in with the nozzle. It was just open the door, get in there, fight the fire. But we started to really dive into things called a flow path. So, if we're opening up the front door to go inside of it, and we just leave it wide open. If that fire happens to be starved of oxygen, then it's going to get a nice influx of oxygen. And then fire really loves O2, loves oxygen. So it's going to start moving towards that as well. So you create what's called a flow.
I guess I don't know if I'd have thought of that exactly. I would have thought, like, I'd have heard of it, like, coming out of the door, but, like, I never thought of, like, it would start moving towards the door as well.
Path. So we know if there's a viable victim in that area, we got to make sure we're opening the door, closing it until they're ready to go in with the fire hose or the stretch a line in there, and then go from there.
Yeah. What does it take to become a firefighter? Because, kids frequently say top 3 jobs: doctor, firefighter, police officer, maybe cowboy thrown in there, or astronaut. But
Cowboy astronaut. And that's my dream.
Those are the top ones. So what does it take to become
first off, I've learned what it takes to be a cowboy and an astronaut. I'm good, bro. I'm nowhere near smart enough to be an astronaut. No way, dude.
I thought you just didn't like the zero gravity.
No, I would love that.
Oh, that would be, I don't know. The whole notion of being like atrophied in space because of it. And then when you come back down to Earth, it's like, maybe once, if they ever figure out gravity in space. You know what? We just watched Hail Mary, which is a really intriguing movie, the way they created gravity. I like the alien, too. That's really funny. I like the alien with the laptop voice. To me, that was the funniest. But the way they created gravity by, like, creating a centrifugal type of thing, that was pretty dang cool.
I always say
in my mind. I don't know if it would actually be feasible or not. You probably have to ask someone who knows, but
If I ever get that chance, if it ever becomes affordable and I'm not going to die in the process, or if I do, that would be an epic way to go out. But
You and Jeff Bezos.
just floating around, hanging out, man. It depends on where you're at. So where I'm at, in order to become a firefighter, you need to be an EMT first. The reason is a lot of the.
So I don't think that would be the case where I live. Like, I don't think you would need to be an EMT. I think they go through a lot of training for first responder or whatever. I guess I could be wrong about actually becoming like a firefighter, but I don't think that would be necessary. I guess I never thought of it. You probably would need some sort of first aid capabilities, I'm assuming. Like that, because obviously you're dealing with like fire victims. Probably need some basic knowledge of that type of stuff.
Calls that you're going to be running to, about 85% of them are going to be medically based. So
Really?
yeah.
So this is breaking news.
See, I wouldn't have thought of that. And maybe it's because, like, it would maybe depend whether you're in the city or not as well. Because, like, I don't live in the city. Because cities are evil. Remember Babylon? Remember Babel? Okay? Cities are evil. But the notion would be that probably in cities, I imagine you'd have a lot more people involved in fires. Just in general.
Firefighter.
So I guess I don't know where this guy is a firefighter from, but in our case, like most of the times, I can't imagine there being a lot of people actually involved in the fire.
Fighters 85% of the time are not fighting fires.
Surprisingly not. You would think, well, it's amazing with new building constructions, especially down in Florida, sprinkler systems, people finding ways to be able to put out fires on their own, whether it's through extinguishers, but people.
I wonder when they actually came up with fire extinguishers. I think the notion would be, it would be like powdered solutions, and then there's liquid-based ones as well. It's kind of intriguing. I wonder when they came up with that whole idea.
Have found a very good way to be able to.
It's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever messed with like the different like levels of fire, but there's a thing called like magnesium fires. Well, it's not like a category, but there are scenarios in which magnesium is on fire, and they say if you spray water on it, it'll just like it'll go up. It's crazy the way that works, but you completely counterintuitive. But yeah. You spray water on magnesium that's burning, it'll blow up. Well, I say blow up. It'll start burning probably a lot harder or something. Does not put it out.
Prevent fires through proper construction.
Wow.
And then obviously in Florida for us, space heaters, we don't have anything like that. Most of your fires in Florida are going to be kitchen based or cooking based. So for us, you're going to go to EMT school first. Then you're going to go to fire school. So Florida, every
fire school
place is a little bit different. With Florida, you actually have to put yourself through fire school and EMT school.
That's I hope you get paid well.
Then apply for a fire department, and then you can be hired for most of the departments that are going to be there. Places like New York, you can be picked up just straight off the street. So a citizen can apply.
Huh. So it might not be a case of like urban versus suburban or rural. It might just be more a case of like local regulations or something. I don't know.
And then FDNY will put you through all of their processes
So they might still have to go through that stuff in an urban scenario, especially. I might not have been entirely wrong, but he's just saying that they will put you through that stuff.
The surrounding departments.
Is that because it's more in demand here?
No, it's just the way that the different strategies, there's some ways to do it. Every place is going to have.
I feel like, especially with regards to firefighters, you would want to kind of maybe incentivize that. Like, so you would want to pay their way through some of that stuff. As maybe you have too many applicants or something. I don't know.
Their own way of doing it. And
I'm curious because in medical school, you go through medical school, you pay your way, so expensive. And then we have something that's known as the match, where you rank certain programs and then they rank students that they like.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't match, and that's heartbreaking because now you have nowhere
That's unfortunate
to go and you spend all this money. Does that happen where you put yourself through the schools and then no one picks you up?
Yes.
No way.
That's unfortunate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I got hired in 2008. It was during the hiring freeze.
Okay.
My mom still talks about this today. So I get through fire. I put myself through EMT, through paramedic school, then through fire school. I graduate fire school. At my closing ceremony, this incredible guy comes up. He starts, it's a chief. He starts giving this a speech. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2008. This many firefighters have died in the line of duty over the last year, and you are in the worst hiring freeze that we've ever heard of. Good luck. Yeah.
Inspiring.
Was this meant to be inspirational?
I don't know, bro, but like all of us are like, oh no, this is not.
That would
good.
have been a good orientation speech to weed out people who aren't serious, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, so what are you thinking in that moment?
Well, there's something to be said for honesty as well, though. I suppose you can't really fault them for telling the people what it is.
Crap. Is this so?
I guess I tend to think that the notion of giving people false hope is only half so cruel as the notion of taking away people's hope is only half so cruel as giving them false hope. That's my motto.
My instructor, a great guy named Kerry Weiss. He's the day before graduation. He says, "Hey, listen, I work for a department." Or I'm retired from a department, Riviera Beach, and they're opening up their applications. They're actually closing the day after we graduate. So if you want, I would apply. And at the time, they were actually one of the lowest paid in South Florida, and a lot of people were like, "I'm not going to go work for a place that."
It feels like beggars can't be choosers, though.
It was $37,000 a year to be a firefighter. Not going to get paid a lot anyways.
Oh wow! I wonder what that would be with inflation. I'm assuming there would be more, probably.
70% of firefighters are actually volunteers, so most people are doing it for free. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to work.
I guess I could see how that would be nasty for firefighters themselves, the people who go through the training. But it's nice that people do volunteer for that sort of thing.
Anywhere and everywhere. So I applied. I actually got picked up. No one else in my class got hired for another 5 years after that.
Is it because you had the best grades, did the most push-ups? What are they grading you on?
All the above.
Really?
No.
No. Well, I don't know. That's what it's like in medical school.
Is that what in medical school? By the way, the match thing, what is that? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like, what does that feel like if you're like, I want to be a cardiologist or I want to be this, and they're like, no, you're going to be a podiatrist.
That's unfortunate. Like, that would be something strange. I guess I didn't know that was... I assumed as a doctor you would just go in for certain stuff, but maybe at some point they just say they have you take a test in college or something to see what you match for?
Yeah, well, so you pick the two fields that don't necessarily participate in the match.
Oh, okay.
Specifically the two, because to be a cardiologist, you first have to match into internal medicine.
Okay.
And then once you finish your internal medicine residency, then you could do a fellowship in cardiology. And podiatry, they have their own medical school altogether.
Oh, okay.
So you pick the two that don't participate. So any other ones, like plastic surgery or surgery.
Okay.
Or, what's another simple example? OBGYN.
Okay.
So if you want to go into those, generally you have some sort of sense when you're putting names into the match process of who you like, where you did your electives, so they know you know them.
Okay.
There's kind of a understood boundary of, we can't tell you that we ranked you, but we really like you.
Okay.
So, like, this isn't some sort of test to see... Is this some sort of test to see what they're good at? Or are they just saying, okay, so this is where you went, this is what you did there, and this is what we'll see if we like you or not? Like, it's not some...
And you already kind of know.
Yeah.
If you're not well liked and you did a really bad job on your electives and people are like, oh my God, I don't want to work with you, you can get into a bad place. So that's scary.
Yeah.
Because then we have something known as, God, is it called the scramble? I forgot the name.
So it's like, so I'm assuming this is just in a case where everything else being equal, you have doctors who are, technically equally qualified, but because of where they went and what they did there, because of their electives, I guess, maybe that would have something to do with it. Maybe that would have something to do with their competency or stuff like that. That'd be an indicator there. So they choose and rank based on that as well.
Name of it. Clearly I didn't participate.
The craft show.
Yeah. Where you have to then try and find spots, because just like students can go unmatched, spots can go unmatched. So programs that perhaps pay less desirable specialties, family medicine, will have openings.
Okay.
And then you can try and scramble into those openings. So literally program directors are calling students who didn't match. Students are calling program directors, presenting themselves, and hopefully finding a situation where they can get into a program. But if they
That's pretty cool.
don't, off year, you have to go do some research, maybe take a long vacation, and hope you match the following year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And imagine now you're like 300,000 in debt.
I was gonna say.
It's kind of I don't know.
Holy crap.
It would not be a nice place to find yourself. Very, very precarious.
Yeah.
With us, like, so that's a lot of the issues right now with places where you have to put yourself through the schooling in order to get picked up. Because, EMT school is $5,000, depending on where
How
you go
long
to
is
fire
it?
school. EMT school is somewhere between 3 to 6 months. It depends on if you're going full-time or part-time. I was 3 months. Fire school is somewhere between 3 months to 6 months, again, full-time or part-time. And then for medic school, a lot of programs are going to be a year. You can do accelerated programs that are 9 months, but some people do 2-year-long programs.
Oh, I'm not saying that it's nothing, but also it seems comparatively to like doctor or some of those college programs, it's comparatively not as expensive. But still, you probably don't get paid nearly as much either. So it might be kind of in the same ballpark as far as investment versus output.
So
So the whole length of it is about 2 years, plus
Roughly,
minus?
yeah.
And the first part was 5,000. What's the total amount for those 2 years?
so when I went, it was about $8,000 to go to medic school. I just happened to be looking at some of that stuff recently. Some places are $25,000 to go to medic
Suck it. Doctors have you beat by a mile.
school. $15,000 might be about your average,
And
but
to go earn $37,000?
nothing. I think the starting pay here for a medic is $43,000 a year or $45,000 a year.
Wow.
I mean, that's nothing in the
that's
state of New York. No, it's not. I mean, when I became a medic, I was making $12 an hour. So there's.
How many years ago was that when you started?
That was 19 years ago, 18 years ago.
But
It does seem like, I don't know, give the doctors a bit of a cut, and well, I guess if you're saving people's lives in that regard, maybe it's something that's worth putting money into. But man, police people, teachers, firefighters, we could try to even it out a little bit.
any idea what that number is now?
It's still somewhere around like the $18 to $20 range. It's not a lot of money for.
Yeah, I mean, you think
what
you
they're doing.
become a barista, it's similar pricing.
Yes.
And you don't have to risk your life.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's.
Wow. And then, okay, so I was saying it kind of joking.
Well, that's the thing, like, you wonder, like, in spite of the amount of, like, the investment of time, like, how many of these people are in it for the money and how many of these people are in it because they think they're doing something good? So I feel like at firefighters especially would be something where, like, okay, is any amount of money worth risking your life in that way? Doctors, it's a little bit different. Technically, you work incredibly long hours. It'd be an incredibly annoying job, probably, and you have to watch people die quite often. So maybe that would create a bias or a selection bias of sorts. But I feel like with doctors, you can have a lot of maybe more self-motivated types of individuals involved. But it feels like with regard to firefighters or policemen, there has to be some level of, it feels like, it's depending on the area you're in, there would have to be some level of self-sacrifice involved in that. I think just on principle. So I'm gonna guess that would color the type of people who would want to apply, become part of it.
But is it serious that they grade you based, like, how do they decide who they're taking? What is the logic there?
So what's great is that most of the processes are going to be
I just told you, push-ups, literally.
relatively long. So you're going to do an application process. That's all your basic stuff, your name, date of birth, all the fun stuff, your certifications that you're going to have. We require something called a CPAT there to make sure that you're physically able to do the job itself.
I do those in my hospital. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So hold on. You mean
Well, you probably want to make sure that people aren't passing out in the middle of a surgery or something when they're the one operating on stuff. So I'm gonna guess you probably need some sort of health check, probably semi-regularly with both of these jobs.
like it's a physical?
Yeah.
So I perform those physicals on firefighters.
It's a candidate physical ability test.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no. That's different physical.
Okay.
I do the physical where I listen to heart lungs and do the
we
tests,
do that later.
the
Yeah.
PFTs and all that stuff, which actually kind of bothers me to some degree because a lot of it is a corporate contract with the city or town or fire department. And I end up doing tests that I would never do on a young person.
Yeah.
because it's a legality. Like I'm doing stress tests on young folks, and I'm like, dude, you exercise. That is it, but you have to do it based on the rules. Did you have to
I don't know exactly what the stress test would be.
do any of that?
Oh
kind
yeah,
of stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
So you'll do that. You'll do the application. You'll make sure that you have your CPAT. Then when you put that in, what's new now is the social media piece of it. It's like because they're doing full background checks.
Are they trying to see who has the most followers?
Yeah. I mean, yes. No, God, could you imagine? No, a lot of times they're like, I don't want that person.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. No,
I could very easily see that, like where you wouldn't want some sort of like YouTube celebrity type or influencer type, especially these days. Man, they have such a bad name. So the notion of like bringing on someone who not only is an influencer, but who's also kind of, because they're an influencer, they're kind of their own sort of maybe juggernaut inside the station a little bit, like a competing authoritative force on some level because of their influence, because of their popularity. I could see how you would really maybe not want that.
I just want to make sure there's nothing ridiculous going on. I
Okay.
mean, if you are,
So they request your social handles, or they find them on their own?
no, they're going to request them. Tell us if
Okay, got it.
there's a department, I won't name it, but a department that I applied for while I was waiting to hear back from my department. It was the application. Then I did the physical piece of it a written test. And the written test, I was surrounded by, mind you, this was the hiring freeze. There was nobody around.
Right.
So I was surrounded by about 3,000 other applicants. It was absolutely insane.
For how many positions?
About there's 20,
Dozens?
20 positions.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, it's bad.
crazy.
Yeah. So
It's worse than medical school.
dude, it was
Yeah, that's
one of those where you sit down and you're like, holy crap, this is
So you're the best of the best. Like you're the finest. You're the Navy SEAL of a medic.
I wouldn't call me a Navy SEAL. Anyone watching this has met me, be like, please not a Navy SEAL.
he does have a tattoo. So.
But so you go through that process, and this is for, again, a different department. But once
Isn't that sorry?
you finish that
No shade on Navy SEALs.
piece, then you go through a physical test, which is, it took you about 2 hours to get through the full physical piece of it. It's search and rescue, finding a victim, stretching a line, knocking down hoses, extending a ladder, like all these different things. Once you pass that, they put you through a lie detector. Yeah.
That is surprising. I wouldn't have thought well, I guess maybe it shouldn't surprise me.
The lie detector to make
And
sure.
what do they ask you? Are you afraid?
No. Like, have you ever smoked marijuana? Yeah, the basic stuff. So they'll ask you that.
Which now they're probably not asking that question.
No, Florida's still.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can get your medical marijuana card, but
Got it.
It is so drug usage in general would probably be something they would want to know about, because, like, as I understand it, marijuana is it's still kind of a psychoactive. They'll probably ask you if you drink or smoke or anything like that as well. So I don't think it's really that much off the reservation if they were like, yeah, have you smoked marijuana? Have you ever taken drugs? Have you ever done anything else that would? Yeah, I could easily see that.
they just.
Well, in New York, it's crazy. Like every corner, it seems like.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. It's still crazy for me. So.
yeah.
I've also heard a thing where like marijuana affects your level of ambition. That's kind of a intriguing sort of notion. Like, again, I would get the idea that marijuana is a psychoactive drug. Like, it does affect your brain on some level, but I suppose like, drinking and smoking also affects your brain. But I don't think it's to the same extent. I think marijuana is, it's more in the category of something that would actually mess with you. Well, maybe it's just different, because getting drunk obviously affects a lot of people in a certain way. But that's more just lethargy or slowing you down, lowering inhibitions. I don't know. I've gotten the idea that like people who take marijuana can literally get like a bad trip or something, or they can start getting like schizophrenia or something from it. Maybe it's just different, but obviously like, I don't know.
We'll talk
Don't listen to me on that part.
about that
Yeah.
in a minute. But once you did that, you had to do another interview panel. Then you did another lie detector test to make sure that you didn't lie on anything in between there. Like, it just. It's huge. So some places really want to make sure that they're hiring the best of the best, which is obviously great. My department was an interview. with an interview panel. They went through a bunch of questions. Then I had to do an interview with the chief, make sure that I was good for the job, and then they signed me
Wow,
on.
what a multi-step process.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Did you worry about any of that application process through it?
Not really. I
You
mean,
were just like, I am who I am.
yeah, that thankfully that's kind of the way I've lived most of my life. Is just I am who I am. I've tried to grow. I've tried to become a little more focused internally and make sure that I'm taking care of my own mental health, and then as well as other people. Just my wife is about to get her master's degree in family therapy, so
Nice.
it's
Oh, nice. Or not nice. I don't know. Like, there's part of me that would never want to marry a woman psychologist just because, like, goodness. I mean, psychoanalyzing me the whole time.
very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the difference? And this,
Like, obviously, you don't want a dummy, but marrying a psychologist, a head shrinker?
this is my lack of knowledge, so I apologize on that behalf. Paramedic.
To be fair, that there are guys who do want to marry dummies, or to whom it's perhaps not a great concern as to the intellectual level of their wife.
EMT.
There's hope for all of us. Just saying.
People say, don't you ever say ambulance driver, but then in some places they have someone dedicated to drive the ambulance. So
Yes.
what is the
Like the getaway driver.
difference? How does one understand the difference? And
Yeah.
take me through that journey.
No, of course. So ambulance driver is just, or they call it stretcher fetchers. That's my favorite
That's pretty funny.
one. So
Actually, you guys can watch the rest for yourself if you want. Yeah, everything Hollywood gets wrong about firefighters. Fire Department Chronicles. Fire Department Chronicles. I assume it's this guy, or that's his channel. In any case, so you can go look up his channel if you like. Go check out the rest of this video if you want to.